Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron. It is January 15th, 2020. And let us have a proper gold price update today. As you know, we are going to do this in the most clear way possible by a study of the price action. And very briefly, I want to tell you, this Monday, coming up, this very Monday, January 20th, I will be speaking live at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. This is in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. If you're anywhere in the region, I urge you to attend this conference. This is the second largest gold and precious metals conference in North America of the year. And if you're going to attend, there are going to be a lot of speakers. This is a 2-day event. If you're going to attend, make sure to use this coupon code here, the promo code Aaron100. This will get you free, completely free admission versus the normal price. Why pay when you can get in for free? So if you would like to show up, there is going to be a link to this below so you can register, use the promo code, and come say hi. I would love to see you. It'd be really great to meet and talk the markets and whatnot. So let's move on. We are looking at gold and silver the past 3 days. As you know, that's what we do here. Gold looking very healthy right now, having corrected from that recent spike that we saw up to 1,613 was the peak from a little over a week ago. And when we switch over to silver, the peak was just above 1870. And so we've come off just about $1. But I tell you, I think those people who were looking for the early calls, they were looking for to be right early and say this is the start of the bear market for precious metals. I think they are, in fact, early. I think they will regret those calls. And what will probably happen is that they will get drawn back into this market before a major correction happens later this year. I think those people are too early. I don't think the correction is here yet. I want to show you why. Let's talk about gold here in the most clear fashion possible. Everything here has a color and a significance to it when you're talking about a dashed line here. So the color is black, just to let you know. We're talking about horizontal support and resistance. We're talking about a level, if you look very closely here with the mouse, follow this. This is a level where buyers purchased gold here, right at the 1550 level back in 2012. And then what happened again? They purchased again at the same level. What happened again about 6 months later? They purchased at the same level. So when you see that happening over multiple times here, that is a horizontal support level, which then what happened? The market broke lower through that support level. And fast forward 7 years, isn't it interesting that we're hitting what? Resistance now at this level. Notice the first time that gold got back to this level, follow the mouse here, back to this confluence level here in the mid 1500s, what happened? It got rejected the first time. So anyone who's trying to tell you that the precious metals are, that the only thing that matters is manipulation, as if these are not markets that can be traded and tracked, they're living on a planet which I call planet fear. And I suggest you consider that planet fear is not a very fun place to live. Whether you're a precious metals investor or another investor in another market, either way, you do not want to be living in a state of fear. And I think those people who blame everything and who say the only thing that matters is manipulation, I think they are succumbing to the fear. And I don't think that's good. I don't think it results in a healthy life, a healthy outlook. And I think you will be a better student of the market. You will achieve better returns if you don't just give up, but you actually say, wait a minute, there are things that we can learn here. The market, what we're looking at here, the chart of gold going back to 2011, the all-time high, the chart is simply prices. This is where people buy and sell the age-old store of wealth for 5,000 years. And there are things that we can learn. It's not all random. Okay? So, how do I know that? Now, let's bring this back to the forward. The arrows, drum roll please. There they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 major times in 6.5 years that gold attempted to get through this 6-year base resistance. This is what we're talking about with resistance zones, okay? It's typically not a specific level. We are looking at a zone here. So the first level, what was this level? Look all the way to the right. 1434, right? Rejected. Come back up. 1378 or so. Rejected. Come back up. 1350. Rejected. Can we see something of a pattern here? Yes, obviously. And so whether the sellers are legitimate individuals, whether they're clients of mine, and by the way, if you would like to be a client and study these things with us, make sure to check out the homepage, iGold Advisor. We do videos like this that are just as much in depth, but an hour and 20 minutes in length, and we cover not only gold, but the gold mining complex, silver, the US dollar, and the US bond market. Just keep that in mind. So whether we're talking about that or whether we're talking about manipulators, and I don't disagree that there are manipulators in this market, it's just that I know the manipulators are not all powerful. And again, if you think they are, if you think the manipulators control your fate in this market, what are you doing here? Get out of this market. Sell all your gold, sell all your silver, move on to a market that is not manipulated in your mind. I am participating in this market because we look at this here. Data point number 4, 1378. Number 5, 1369. Number 6, and this is multiple data points in here, but you can see we're talking about major data points. 1362. Look at the number of times that gold tried to get through this base resistance here, and then boom, what happened? It finally did that just 6.5 months ago. This is significant, what is happening here in these markets. Okay, when you see a multi-year base like this that has been broken out to the upside, and then what happened? We came back down and we retested. We talk about these retests a lot. We came back down, we retested this breakout point, right? The upper band of this resistance zone. What is a breakout? What is a retest of that breakout? What we're talking about here is where literally a market is challenging whoever it is. I don't know who it is. I never claim to know who it is. Is it Russia? Is it China? Can we fathom? Is it the U.S. Federal Reserve actually buying gold in the market because they know something terrible is about to happen? Maybe. I don't know. There's no way for anyone to know the sum of the fundamentals. So as a technical analyst, I've arrived at this point because I recognize that. But what we can recognize, it's like looking at footprints. When you're in the woods and you see a creature and you look at that footprint and you say, wow, that's an interesting footprint. Is that a deer? Is that a moose? Is that a caribou? I don't know exactly what that is, but I sure know there's something there. And for that matter, I can tell what direction that something is moving. That's the most important point. What direction is the thing moving in? Why is it moving in that direction? We can see those footprints here in the gold market. We had the breakout above 1378, the 1-month surge, a 3-month retest, and boom, another surge. Now, once again, premium members, you know this entire last time, the whole last 4 months, I was talking about this retest coming in. I was saying there's going to be a point where we break this retest resistance, this turquoise for broken trends, and there's going to be the next surge on our hands. And that's what we're seeing right now. Now, let's get rid of those arrows. Let's get a bit more clarity here. There is some more information on this chart that we have not filled in yet. If you're following the system, you should be able to guess what that is. I'm going to tell you it's a blue, it's a primary trend. Going to make it a little bit thinner, a little bit lighter here for a little bit less significant. Where should that trend be? I'll give you a moment. that trend should be right here. Can you see that? So we now have a major low down here in the low 1400s. This is the retest low. When you have a major low, this must be the next data point that is considered when you're evaluating the markets technically. And so we start from the last major low and we connect to the most recent major low and we say this market is now accelerating higher. It's no longer respecting this lower rising trend that we were seeing here in the gold market, where buyers were stepping in at 1180 and then 1200 and then 1260. They're now stepping in the low 1400s and rising, all things considered. So what do we expect here for the gold market? This is a time where I actually think that buyers are going to respect this trend. I think there was a bit of a fear reaction over the last couple of days. We're going to zoom this in just a moment. But and so it looks like the arrow, it looks like I'm showing that we're going immediately higher. I'm not saying that we're going immediately higher. If you look at this, what I'm trying to say here is that this arrow, this blue rising trend that we see in front of us will exceed the most recent peak. Look where this comes in, April. Okay, April. I think this trend is going to be respected, but there could be some consolidation now between January, January 15th, and April. That could be, that could be 3.5 months of consolidation here ahead of us. But I think when this trend gets tested, the next move is going to continue to be higher. This looks highly probable to me. We'll probably back off, and then we will talk about getting into some of our targets. As you know, I'm looking in the range between 17 and 1800 for this move in gold this year. And those people who say, well, this is too aggressive, this is not sustainable, this couldn't happen, just look at how it happened in the inverse, right? Over a $600 decline here in eight months, I propose to you that this can absolutely happen again in the inverse direction. Now, once we get into this region here, 17 to 1800, I will tell you what, I do not think we are going to blast immediately higher. I think something surprising may happen, and there may be a need to take some of the profits off the table or taking defensive action. We will talk about that later on this year. Let us zoom this in to the most recent period. We can see how this is developing. Isn't it interesting that what's happening here? So here's the previous highs from August, September, right? 1565 or so for the upper band here. We broke that downtrend. Isn't it interesting how we spiked back up here? And now we're coming back into this support. So resistance, what was resistance, is expected to act as support. Now, over the short run, I will tell you, because this blasted higher so quickly, right? If you look at this, the downtrend break, and basically less than 2 weeks later, just blasting higher, $150 higher in 2 weeks. This level, when you see a disrespect of a previous resistance level, it also means that the market may disrespect it on the way down. And so I am not certain whether or not we are going to have the easy path here, which is just going to be some sideways consolidation, and then we continue higher, or whether this market's going to give us the more challenging take and move lower first before some additional consolidation. One way or another, my bias is strongly that this market will continue higher at this point. I do not believe this is the top of the entire move that we've seen. I have a lot of evidence to support that. We've just looked at a lot of that 1 week prior in the premium update, the 2020 outlook, a lot of the evidence and things to expect over the coming year. I'm giving you the quick Cliff Note version of that right now here in this video. Let's zoom it back out. I think the most important points to remember here, where we are in the gold market, is that we've broken that 6-year base. We had the initial surge. We came back to retest that. And now what? We expect there to be a significant move higher. I don't think that move is over quite yet. Make sure that if you are going to be in Vancouver, that you use that promo code so that you can save on the entrance fee. And if you would like to receive updates like this, but in a lot more depth, we covered the US dollar. We covered the outlook for commodities. We covered the US stock market. We covered the exact buy and sell signals that we are using here for the individual miners that we are investing in. What you are seeing here is a fraction of what goes out to our premium members. Make sure to check out Precious Metals Intelligence on the homepage. If you're serious about these markets, I cannot fathom how this information does not make you a better informed and a more profitable investor. Check it out on the homepage. If you're saying, hey, this is just, this is a lot of information, this is too much, this is all technical, I understand. We all start in these markets at some place. Some people, have been in this market for longer than me. They've been in this market for 20, 30 years, and bless you. Some people are just starting. This is the first time that you've ever thought about gold. It's like, what the heck are we talking about? Gold. Who cares about gold? The stock market's moving higher. Who cares about gold? What I'm trying to say is that if you would like to speak one-on-one, I do work with a select group of clients. I do not sell the precious metals. I do not take any fees from the companies or the funds that we're profiling here. I simply look out for the best interest of individuals. You can book a consultation on the homepage if you would like to speak to me and discuss the precious metals and help to strategize for the precious metals, for yourself, for your own situation. You can reach me. Make sure, one way or another, to hit the subscribe button so that you will stay up to date on these videos. These videos that you see here, I try to bring you the quick, condensed summary of what is happening here in these markets in the most clear way possible. So I think it's important that you hit the subscribe button so that you can receive the latest updates here on YouTube. Last but absolutely not least, you guys have my heart. Thank you very much for those people. If you say, hey, I got a little bit out of this, I'd like to leave a small tip on Patreon. I just want to say thank you, and I really do appreciate it. We are seeing the retest. When we look at that market, and there's a big difference here between talking about gold. If you are 100% invested in gold, there's a big difference between that versus if you're looking at gold as a hedge, an insurance policy, right? Let's say the bulk of your wealth is in the stock market and the bond market, and you're looking at gold and you're saying, well, I want an insurance policy against a disaster. Very different conversation that we need to have versus someone who is just starting out in their investment career, and they're saying, hey, I think you're right, Chris. I think the metals are going higher over the next year, and I want to try to hit a home run. I want to try to get a 100, 500, or 1,000% gain in these metals over the next year. There are ways to try to achieve that, but it's a very different conversation that we have to have versus the person who wants an insurance policy, a wealth insurance policy. So just know that I'm here for you. Gold is rounding out of this base. I hope to see you this weekend coming up on Monday, that is, at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. Bless you, and I will see you then.